This is chapter 4, Body Basics. We're going to be spreading this chapter out over the next 2 weeks because it really is the foundation of understanding digestion. And we are going to make sure we understand that foundation over the next 2 weeks. And we're going to kind of divide it up into different sections. We're going to do the chemistry part today. And then in part 2, we'll do the body organizations or the body systems. And then in the end, next week in part 3, we will look at problems and issues that can go wrong with the digestive system. So it's an interesting chapter. So if you remember back from your biology classes and the levels of organization, how atoms become molecules and chemicals, and then they become organelles and cells and tissues, and then organs and then systems. That's kind of where I wanted to begin here. So looking at the chemistry foundations. So the introduction here, obviously chemistry, the study of the composition and characteristics of matter. Chemicals make up the food that we eat and the environments. And as human beings, we are complex organisms. And we'll be looking at human physiology as well, the study of how the human body functions and the digestive tract and what can go wrong with that, the pathophysiology. So we start here at the very beginning, an atom. An atom is matter. Excuse me, all matter is composed of atoms, and they contain the particles that you see here, protons, neutrons, the electron cloud around it. And then we have elements. Elements are just that. They are the substance that cannot be broken down any further. So there are more than 100 different types of essential elements, and it cannot be broken or separated into a simpler form. So these are the building blocks of matter, the building blocks of the digestive system or digestion and the human body. And you have elements, but then you also have minerals. Okay, minerals are the elements that are found in the Earth's crust and are essential in the human body. And some can be dangerous, such as aluminum, as you see here, but the body needs some, but not all. And high quantities of some of these, like mercury, aluminum, cadmium, can be toxic. So we'll be talking about some of that pathophysiology as we go along as well. When atoms interact with each other, they can form, when two or more atoms interact, they can form a molecule. Okay, they form this attraction here, this chemical bond attraction. And this is going to become very important when, especially the lipid chapter later on, when we begin to dive into trans fats and hydrogenations of liquid oils into solid oils or solid fats. We're going to be building these bonds up and breaking these bonds down, and that can be harmful to the body as far as being able to digest some of these man-made in high quantity molecular bonds. Solutions are when you have two or more mixtures or two or more compounds put together. You see here, some can be what we call a solution, as you see this Gatorade mix here, and some don't form a very good solution, as you see the oil and vinegar here. Solutions are they have solvents and solutes. If you remember, the solvent is the primary compound, and it's the one that the solute dissolves in. And water. The human body is made up of the majority of water, and it is the universal solvent. So we'll be looking at the solubility of certain substances and how that interacts with digestion and how water is the universal solvent. Then we get into ions, which can have electrical charges. These are your electrolytes that there again are essential for the human body. Every nerve impulse, every muscle contraction at the myofibril level, maintaining your overall blood pH balance, blood pressure, and more relates to ions and um, how electrolytes are beneficial. Sodium, yes, being a big one, but not the only one. Okay, as you see here, this is an example. We'll be talking a lot more about electrolytes. And I guess the two big ones would be sodium, potassium. Potassium, very big in muscle contraction, sodium, huge in nerve impulse, those calcium gated channels at synapses and pH level. Speaking of pH level, when we look at acids and bases, if you remember, acids are substances that donate or, I guess, lose their hydrogen ions here, and bases are the ones that accept them. And pH is measured on that scale or measured on a scale that gives us acids and bases. And I kind of wanted to look at this wonderful figure here in your textbook. And as we talk about acids and bases, you all are familiar with acids and bases, but from the nutritional standpoint, I want you first of all to see where blood is. Okay, blood is neutral, 4.7. And you see how you have your acidic foods, your colas, your wines, your coffees, your acidic foods. And then you have your bases, okay, your baking sodas, um, egg whites, that kind of thing. And then, of course, it goes off the scale with liquid drain cleaner being alkaline, and your acid, battery acid, and your gastric juices, which we'll talk more about when we get to the digestive system specifically. But the body works all the time through metabolism, trying to maintain this overall blood pH. And the foods that you eat and the blood gases that your lungs help to maintain with every ventilation of air um, help to maintain that. Your kidneys are working tremendously overtime in helping to maintain this acid base or this neutral pH balance in your blood. There's a lot of talk out there now with what's called alkaline water. And I don't think your textbook touches on it, but I wanted to mention it because it does come up usually in class, how there's a popularity now of alkaline water anywhere from 7.5 to around 9 pH. And the only benefit that I've ever seen with that in clinical practice is to help benefit people with severe GERD or severe gastroesophageal reflux disease. Kind of helps to help uh, with that heartburn. But there's a lot of research that still needs to be out, or that needs to be done, or that is still out when it comes to the benefit of alkaline water, as far as helping with bone loss and helping with cancer prevention. And um, there's a lot out there that we just need to kind of be aware of. I don't think it's bad for people to consume alkaline water as long as their kidneys are functioning well. If you have any type of kidney disease, then that extra potassium and that extra pH, like I said before, how the kidneys are integral in maintaining blood pH, can be an issue, and it can put an unnecessary burden on the kidneys. So be aware of that. It's out there, and you may see some of that in your research. You may be drinking some yourself. I have an occasional glass myself every now and then. Just know that there's a lot of research out there still on that. It tastes pretty good. I mean, it's got kind of a smooth taste to it, if you like that. Okay. Then we move into chemical reactions. Yeah, and then this is the whole digestive process here, where we're taking these molecules and through chemical reactions, we're breaking them down. And this is the whole benefit of nutrition, eating the foods that we eat and breaking them down into the essential elements that the body needs, which leads us to salt. Salt is, there again, essential for life. Okay, salt is the substance that forms when you combine an acid with a base, and it is used in overall metabolism. We'll talk. Salt usually gets a bad rap, but it is essential in the body. Used in proper quantities, it is needed and can be worked into an excellent diet. Then we're going to end today with talking a little bit about metabolism, and then we pause before we get to the actual body systems. But this is the meat and kind of the fun of um, digestion and looking at nutrition within the body. So metabolism is the sum of all chemical reactions, and you have catabolism, which is the breaking down of molecules, such as the breaking down of your food in the digestive process. And then you have the anabolic reactions, which is the building up and synthesizing of new compounds in the body. And the body is amazing in how it does that. Take, for example, the catabolic reactions involved in digestion, and then the anabolic reactions involved in repairing damaged muscle or how your body stores excess glucose in the form of glycogen in the muscle and in the liver for when you need that glucose for gluconeogenesis. So um, it's the physiology is amazing. And that is done through all of these many, many complex proteins called enzymes. Well, most of them are complex proteins called enzymes that work to either break down or build up those catabolic and anabolic reactions that we talked about. They help to speed up chemical reactions, help to slow down chemical reactions, like you see here, breaking down table sugar into the two disaccharides. We'll learn more about that when we get to the carbohydrate chapter coming up. Um, you have monosaccharide glucose and the monosaccharide fructose, join them together into a disaccharide, which forms sucrose, and how that's broken down with the enzyme sucrase. Anything ending in ase generally means an enzyme. So pancrease, lipase, sucrase, you'll hear that term throughout the semester here when we get to specific organs and their contributions as an accessory organ to the digestive tract and the physiology with certain body systems. This is an excellent video. I highly recommend you watching it. It's about enzymes in particular. We're not going to watch it here, but I want to show you. Okay. I highly recommend it. It's really short. And that's one of the good things here about your uh, e-textbook here. It has these embedded videos in it, if you have not already discovered it, which I hope you have, that are really nice. They go into a little bit of deeper dive than we could here within lecture or just reading your textbook. So I highly recommend that. So here it's showing how you take your food um, enzymes within the digestive system, break it down into the individual components, and how enzymes can also be anabolic, where you're building, okay? You're taking elements such as glucose and fructose, or excuse me, glucose, more than one glucose molecule here, and building them, putting them together, and turning them into the storage form of glycogen. So it's really neat. Highly recommend you watch that. Okay. Really cool. And then lastly, go to the next section here. We're going to cover 4.2 real quick and just a brief review. Okay, this is not a biology class, but just to understand real quick or to review anatomy and physiology and go over the basic cell, because remember the levels of organization here. We're getting ready to build into organs and body systems and eventually the human body. So remember anatomy, is the study of the cells and body structures. Okay. Tomi means to cut into. So actually studying the structure of the organ or the body or the system. And then physiology is how that structure functions. So how that structure functions. The cell is the smallest living functional unit in an organism. Body is made up of cells. Cells become tissues. This is yet another wonderful embedded video within your online textbook that I highly recommend. And you can kind of see what page it's on here, talking about how cells are made up of several organelles and talks about DNA and the cytoplasm and the mitochondria, kind of a review here, yeah, of basic cellular anatomy and the functions of the organelles. And eventually how cells join together based on similar systems, or excuse me, similar functions to join tissues. Okay, tissues are cells that have joined together with similar characteristics and functions, and then tissues in turn become organs. Okay, cells become the tissues, tissues become the organ becomes the whole body system. We spoke already in chapter 2 about the different types of tissues. So we're kind of building up now to body systems. Our next video is going to be about on the 11 different types of body systems. We'll go over each one of those in quick detail that you see here, just so you're familiar with them and how they relate to the overall nutrition and digestion. Okay, so see you in the next one.